Lecture 11, The Materials Needed to Get a Job. In this lecture, we are going to look at the various materials that you would need to create and provide in your search for work in the field of graphic design, whether for employment or for freelancing. But first, it is a good idea to define your own visual identity in presenting your materials. So we're going to look at branding yourself. The materials that you create for yourself should reflect a cohesive design sensibility, just as you as a designer would design materials for one of your clients. Finding the right voice or fonts and color palette is one way to come up with a simple, consistent look and feel for all of your materials. But exactly what are these materials? The minimum items that you would need to create for entering the field are a resume and a portfolio. More and more, it is becoming important to have an online portfolio in some way to be able to provide a link in an email or when filling out an online application, though typically you would also have the option to attach a PDF to either of these. There are many options for getting your work online. We will look at all of these in a little more detail a little later on in this lecture. But first, we want to look at your resume. A resume is not a portfolio. A resume is a document that communicates your qualifications to a prospective employer, things like your education, skills, experience, work history, and community service, along with a little bit about your personal interests. Having an overly designed resume to try and say, "Hey, I am a designer," can be annoying, especially to a higher-end firm. Good use of white space, clearly headed sections that allow the prospective employer to find the things they are looking for easily will impress them more than gratuitous design or decorative elements that might be distracting. Short, concise descriptions in readable type are appreciated as well. That said, the right choice of fonts, your own brand, and a bit of color can make a difference as long as they don't get in the way of communication. Following are some examples of resumes for students who graduated from the graphic design program at Lane. Here's one from Kaylee Ray. A lot of white space, clean, easy to follow. You can see all the different subheads and all the different categories and easily figure out what you're looking at. Here's one from Gwendolyn Haight, another graduate of the program. She uses a two-column approach that follows very nicely as it goes along and easy to see everything at a glance. Here's Grace Wickland. Again, clean, simple, straightforward, a little design flair, but it gets right down to business rather quickly. Now we're going to look at your portfolio, or talk about how you create your portfolio. And the question is, physical portfolio or digital portfolio, or both? Today, more and more graphic designers are getting their jobs by digital means. Designers have a website or online portfolio, jobs are applied for online, and sometimes interviews are performed on Skype or Zoom. So you may ask, do I even need a physical portfolio? And the answer is still yes, because maybe means you better have it. However, if you are strictly web or UX design, you may not need a physical portfolio. Physical portfolios can be made from your PDF portfolio, that you will need as well, if it is set up right. Keeping a consistent page orientation and size so that they will print well together can be done when you create your digital portfolio, and these prints can be slipped into the protective sheets of a physical portfolio. If you're a graphic designer, you will likely create a document in Adobe InDesign that can be exported in various ways, including as an interactive PDF. So one good InDesign file could take care of much or all of what you need in terms of your portfolio, whether digital or otherwise. How much will it cost to make a physical portfolio, you may ask? Printing costs vary, but 11 by 17 digital printing is getting pretty cheap these days, and so it would likely be less than $1 a page. A good portfolio should be anywhere from 16 to 30 pages. Portfolios with plastic sleeves in which you can put your printed pages are available for as little as $30 and range up to the hundreds of dollars for portfolios with metal posts and covers made of finer things like brushed aluminum or bamboo, for example. So all told, a portfolio can be made for as little as $40 to $50 on up into the hundreds of dollars. A standard black 3-post landscape portfolio can be $70 to $80 without sleeves. Wood, brushed aluminum, and bamboo covers can push the cost to well over $100. These are some pages from a Lane graduate's portfolio showing a branding assignment. These pages, laid out in 11 by 17 landscape format, can easily be printed out and slipped into sleeves within a physical portfolio or exported as a PDF as part of a digital portfolio. The next question would be, do I need a web presence like a website, blog, or social media page? If your goal is only to find a job, then it may not be necessary to have much of a web presence. However, I think it is useful to have your work somewhere on the web for ease of sharing it with prospective employers or clients. There are a host of plug-and-play portfolio website builders like Wix, Adobe's My Portfolio, and Portfolio Box that make it easy to get your work online. If you are freelancing, you might consider having more of a web presence. As discussed in a previous lecture, the upside of freelancing is working on your own time, and the downside is you have to drum up your own business. You are, in essence and in fact, in business for yourself, or self-employed. So marketing yourself to whatever degree you need or wish to is something that you need to consider. Creating a website for yourself can also become another portfolio piece that might get you some work doing web work for others. Blogging about your design work can keep you in the forefront of potential clients' minds when a job comes up where they may need to contract with someone. Facebook offers a little less formal of an approach and can foster relations. You may not need all of the above, but you might want to consider having some of these things to help promote your business as you see fit. In summary, the materials for finding a job are some training in the skills and some experience in the field, a good, clearly communicating resume, a portfolio in both digital and physical form, and/or the ability for someone to view your portfolio online. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that this has given you some idea of what materials you will need to create and present to a prospective employer or client for getting hired. Please go to week 4 in Moodle and take quiz number 11 when you can. Next up, lecture 12, Finding and Applying for a Job.